association coordinates Council of Europe campaign Without Hatred here in Poland. And the campaign unfolds across Europe. In Poland, we work together with the Ministry of National Education and with the Center for Education Development. And on top of it, there is a number of other partners that we have on the slides. So my role here is to give some publicity to our new accomplishment, which is like the handbook that helps counteract hatred. And we take an approach that is driven by human rights. So I want to walk you through 10 reasons why it makes sense to use our handbook. Well, first, the handbook is set in a certain context. The Council of Europe for the past 70 years has been talking about human rights, and this message was targeted to young people for the past 15 years. We try to use all the informal channels, but we also want to work with schools and teachers to counteract hatred. You might remember Compass and the project that produced a manual that was later sort of forbidden by the Minister of Education. We have the new English version. The Polish version will be available soon. We have a Lyric Compass, which is same content but for a younger children, probably like elementary school or even preschool or kindergarten. So this is all available for your use. Gender Matters is the publication which is not available in Polish. Then another manual or handbook that I'm going to discuss today, Zakładki, and Mirrors is another handbook which is about the Roma people, and I'm not sure if it's going to be issued in Polish. The No Hate campaign has been in place for 2 years, and we will run it for another 2 years. Campaign is present across Europe in 40 countries, and if you are into the cultural diversification, multicultural, and languages, you may look it up in different countries, because the campaign always relates to the culture of a given country. What is the goal? First of all, we want to raise the awareness of human rights and how hateful comments and hatred violate human rights. We also want to speak about diversity. Today it's a good opportunity because we have an upcoming discussion about refugees, migrants, people that come from a different religious background. So we want to view it as an opportunity, not as a threat. So this is about being open. And the third thing is to be active. So once we know what human rights are all about, we know what are the threats of hateful behaviors, then we may do something to actually prevent that from happening. And this is not only about protecting Muslims or refugees from such hateful behaviors. The same applies to Polish people who may be hated for a number of reasons. We have a huge coalition in Poland, almost 80 organizations, including Nobody's Children Foundation. So we've got a large group, and actually this is the whole movement. The campaign enables various interventions or actions at various levels. Last year we had a competition and for various initiatives across Poland, and we got like 40 applicants from all over Poland, and actually we could see that various groups and organizations had very creative approach to that. So now we are developing a set of good practices. We make it available for everyone so that everyone who's interested may use it. Now, why it makes sense to use our handbook? Well, because it has universal educational value. You can use it at school and beyond. So in any organizations or after-school centers. And the main target are young people between the age of 13 and 18. I used the handbook when I worked with the middle schoolers, and I'm quite sure that this is also suitable for primary school. I use the same materials when I work with trainers and with adults. So this is like a set of tools that you can use on different occasions. It's not silly because you can use various case studies, so you can make it either more or less complicated. So we want to encourage educators, teachers, and people who work beyond school environment to take advantage of that. Now that the four, it's 3-in-1. Well, it is 3-in-1: theory, practice, and active approach. So we speak about the human rights and we explain what discrimination is all about and why it happens. So we have discussions, we have planning of different actions. These are examples. You may have a happening, you may have some photo campaigns, you may have a number of different things. Now, methods that our handbook recommends. First of all, simulation, like the court trial or discussions about the mosque being built in the city or in your town, or the dialogue between two communities. One community had to migrate, had to arrive to another island, and these two communities are not able to reach an agreement on anything because they have different cultures, etc. Now, hateful behaviors and hateful speech and how to recognize that. Examples of campaign, how to develop campaigns on the internet and beyond, and how to develop discussions according to different methods. Well, again, the level and the scenario of discussion would depend on the group. Now, a quiz about human rights and more analytical work with case studies, some historical examples where you may actually analyze historical text, and you may use media inputs or press. You may analyze the examples of the hateful speech. Now, the fifth reason why. Again, we want to approach this topic from the perspective of young people. So the freedom of expression, because this is something that always pops up. So where is the sort of borderline between the freedom of expression, what I may say, what I shouldn't say, why I can't say everything that I want if I truly have a freedom of speech. Racism and discrimination, this is also a hot topic, but also some other things like democracy and participation, engaging in the local community life, young people becoming more active. We often hear that young people have a lot of things to study, so they don't want to engage in the life of their community. Plus, security on the internet, privacy, how to use the internet safely. So all these things are addressed by our handbook. The sixth reason why, well, this handbook enables you to take off right away. So we have modules about the human rights, about the campaign, we have scenarios, we have human rights conventions. So that's enough to be ready to do something. The seventh reason is that this handbook relates to skills, knowledge, values, and attitudes. So if we want to question some choices, some decisions, then we have to refer to, for instance, values. which is difficult, but worth the effort. Reason number 8, the handbook is extremely flexible. You can modify it on your own. You can sort of align it with your needs. So on the left hand, you've got a group of kids from school. So this is a small group, but you may have a group of 200 people, and this handbook will be also useful. And you can align it with various topics, because usually we have different topics like refugees, secure internet, racism, homophobia, but topics may evolve. So here, safe internet, or refugees, or racism, Roma people, transphobia, religious diversity, etc., etc. So you may add to that a number of other topics. So scenarios are pretty flexible and adaptable. The reason number 9. Reason number 9 is about engagement. So we want to demonstrate to young people that the internet is not just games. And it's not just a place to display yourself, but we want to show that the internet is the sort of social space where young people should be active as young citizens. They should also voice their ideas and their needs in a positive way, in a very respectful way. They shouldn't use hatred as their weapon. And reason number 10, well, the reason number 10 is your own reason. Everyone has their own motivation to use this handbook, these bookmarks, to get the message across to a certain group. And the handbook is available online. I have a hard copy, but unfortunately we don't really have hard copies available. We don't have funding for that. But it can be downloaded from our website in PDF. And you can print whatever you want. So I want to encourage you to get in touch with us, to join the campaign, and to actually test the scenarios. Most of the scenarios must be somehow adjusted to the Polish context, but I have to say that they are very inspiring, and they usually trigger a lot of emotions and reactions from the groups. So if you test the scenarios and have feedback, we would be very happy to get some feedback from you. So we encourage you to embrace it. Thank you.
Thank you for those 10 reasons, and I hope you will all do the testing. Are there any questions for the talk here? Do you want to just, yes? You want to speak in Polish? Okay. Dzień dobry, Magdalena.
Hello, my name is Magdalena Duszyńska, and I have the following question. You mentioned some suggestions. But I have a question. Do you run any evaluation amongst young people, how they actually view these scenarios? Obviously, you have some immediate feedback during workshops, but do you have some questionnaires, or do you talk to young participants about the scenarios, and do you modify them following their suggestions? And one more question. If the evaluation is, if it exists, is it available on the internet?
Bardziej jakby sprawdzamy, ewaluujemy je właśnie przez działania, nie robimy takiej meta-ewaluacji. Więc jakby to jeszcze...
At this phase we have not performed a meta-evaluation. We just have immediate feedback. But we do modify the content. Together with the Center for Education Development, we will launch a training program, 10 training courses for teachers across Poland. and also librarians and school psychologists. So we will also collect their feedback, and we'll see how things work out. Hopefully we can come up with some addendum, or I don't know, perhaps we will come with a different format, electronic format of the handbook. So for the time being, we just collect feedback from the young people with whom we work. We see how we may modify the content, and we plan to have like the process that will unfold for 12 months. So after that, we should get some feedback. So we will not go through the formal evaluation, but we will probably improve the handbook on an ongoing basis. Sorry.